Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is Wes with Lost is the Adventure. Today we are going to be going over what rig I have and what I have done to my rig. So before we get started, a little bit about it. It is a 2005 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon TJ. It does have the NV3, what is it, the 370 6-speed Mercedes transmission. I could have the nomenclature completely wrong, with a 241 transfer case, front and rear air lockers. So going over the rig, we are going to start at the front and work our way around. Then we are going to go to the interior. So on my Jeep, I do have the Super Winch 10,000 pound winch with synthetic rope. I am running a Smittybilt front bumper with KC 7-inch off-road spotlights with aux beam floodlights on the front. The really cool thing about this winch, which really made me purchase it, was the wired and wireless winch combination. So it does come with both controllers for this winch. Completely game changer. If you guys do not have a wireless winch controller, definitely get one. Headlights. So I know a lot of people have talked on the TJ that, you know, factory halogen bulbs, they are just garbage, right? These are actually out of a military LMTV. They are 12 and 24 volt. I did wire them up with a factory pigtail, so they plug right into the factory harness. They work phenomenal. Coming around, I am running Genrite full tube fenders, front and rear. I'm running the Curry Anti-Rock front sway bar. I've got JKS dual rate 3.5-inch lift coils with the factory isolators, and Bilstein 5000 series shocks. Get a look close in there. These things are pretty nice. All right, coming to the top, I am running Poison Spider hood louver. This helps get some of the heat away. Those of you who are TJ owners and run the inline 6-cylinder know about the heat that these things put out. I also do have the Midland Stealth GMRS radio antenna mounted right there on the hood. Coming around, there's those rear tube fenders. And when you do order these tube fenders from Genrite, they do come completely bare metal. So what I did is I ended up prepping them with a wire wheel. I did self-etching primer spray paint. I did 2 cans per fender, let them set up, and then I did Raptor bed liner. There are 2 jugs of Raptor bed liner per fender, right? Running 35 1250 R15 Maxxis Razor MTs. These tires are absolutely amazing. The tread life on these probably have, I want to say probably 30,000 miles on them, you know, and that's a combination of road and trail. Coming around to the back, Go Rhino trash bag on the spare tire. I use it for some of the heavier recovery gear. Just throw it in there, you know, snatch block, little snatch rope, toe strap, things like that. On the back, I am running the WeBoost Overland cell phone booster, right? This thing hits some trails, start losing a little bit of self-service. Click this thing on inside the Jeep, you get phenomenal cell coverage. As long as it can pick up 1 bar, you can get a little bit of cell coverage, right? Come around the outside, I am running the Safari style snorkel. We will pop the hood and I will go over that install because it was a pain, such a big pain in the butt to do, and a couple of modifications that if you are going to do that on a Rubicon TJ, please take note. There's some modifications you do have to do, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. But let me get the doors open and I'll bring you on the interior. All right, so we're going to start from the front again, go underneath the hood, show you a couple of modifications that have been done there. I've got the doors open, the rear hatch open, and then we will go through some of the modifications that I did to the interior of the Jeep. So let's get started. All right, once again, back to the front of the vehicle. We got the hood up. So running that factory Safari snorkel, you do need to run the factory air box, right? A couple different modifications you're gonna have to do. The factory air box, I don't know if you guys can see it, right down in here, there's normally a scoop that comes up for the fresh air intake. You have to block it off with the provided plate and completely seal it. The other thing is on the side here, That's where the inlet for the tube that runs to the snorkel comes to. The modifications in the pain in the butt part that I was talking about is on a Rubicon, the alternator will actually rub on that little inlet piece. And so what I ended up doing is I rotated it when I installed it to bring it down, and it actually clears that alternator, I mean by a tiny little, maybe thousandths of an inch, right? But it does work. I have tested it. I do have some videos where I have forded water above my hood, halfway up my windshield, and it does absolutely fine. The next thing is my S-Pod. I am running an S-Pod on the vehicle. In case those of you who don't know what that is, what it allows you to do is any type of auxiliary equipment that you want to run, you don't have to run it to your battery. You run everything to this S-Pod, and there's a switch panel on the inside, and that allows just cleaner install. Please don't come at me in the comments for my wiring. I've got loom on the way so I can wrap everything up real nice. I'm already tracking. Don't come at me. The next thing is I did upgrade to an Optima yellow top. For those of you who are in northern climates, some of you may know this, some of you may not. The yellow tops, they do not do well in cold weather. They're notorious for losing their cold cranking amps in the cold weather. But here in North Carolina, we really don't get that too cold of weather to really have that of concern. Coming around the interior. So the interior of my Jeep is, the carpet is completely ripped out. It is all professionally truck bed lined. Coming over, this is that switch panel for the S-Pod. So you can get whatever different type of switches you want. This one doesn't do anything. This one is for my KC lights. The windshield one is for my puddle lights. My radio, this one actually switches on my radio. And then the Tiki Man, that is for the Dometic fridge in the back, because you know when you turn that on, it's got the beers in it, so it's party time. Midland GMRS radio, I think this is the MXT 250, so it does 15 watts of broadcast power. Plenty for what you need it to do, you know, for trail communication. And I actually have the Jeep version. Sorry, my little mount fell off this morning. So I've got the Jeep version. So Midland actually partnered with Jeep to put this little Jeep logo right here. I mean, if you got a Jeep, you got to have the Jeep logo on it. It just goes without saying. So right now I just kind of shove it up there. The other thing I got is I got this overhead mount. I'm still kind of indifferent about it. It's convenient having these items up here, but I feel like it was more of a hassle to install than it is worth. I'll get back to you guys on how I feel about this. You can, you know, it's all Velcro. I've got my winch controller in here, you know, my Streamlight flashlight slides in here, you know, other little knickknacks and stuff like that. Back at the front, I've got this plastic. It came from I want to say Quadratech.com. Just an overhead storage bin. I've got my wired winch controller in here. I keep a couple maps of the local trails. Those of you watching this from North Carolina know about Uwharrie. I keep updated paper maps in here because it's always nice to have them. On that side, you know, passenger could throw their phone in there, that way it doesn't get damaged or anything like that. Coming down to the center, I am running the Bullet Point mounting system. So here's for my cell phone, and then on this side I run a iPad mini without cell service. It does have self-service, but I don't have it turned on. I just hotspot from my phone to this, and I use the onX off-road trail mapping software to kind of map if I'm going to any of the new trails, or if I'm kind of sherping a group of Jeepers through some of the other trails and it's their first time. I like to track our route and then send it back to them so they can see what we actually did. Coming down here, this one isn't finished. This one is for my WeBoost cell phone booster. It just plugged into my cigarette lighter. I am going to hardwire this in at some point and put another switch right here for the WeBoost. This one right here, this is just a 12 volt USB and USB. I think this one's dual USBs. Yes, charging, but it also gives me my voltage gauge. I like to keep an eye on you know, my voltage if I'm out camping or anything like that. Over here I've got the it's the Tuffy lockbox glove box. That's really handy for being able to lock it up. You know, if you had a soft top, I could see it being more beneficial, but you know, I like it. If I'm going to camp and I'm going to be away from the vehicle for a little bit and want to lock my valuables in there, you know, that's two locked doors that somebody with bad intentions has to get through to be able to get valuables. You know, the door on the Jeep, and then this. You know, factory 6-speed. Thing I have about this, so the Rubicon, I want to say the 05, 06, and then some of the newer style JKs with the 6-speed. This 6-speed is a Mercedes 6-speed, right? A lot of people have talked about the B&M short throw shifter, that it gives them just nicer shifts through the gates on here. If any of you guys have a TJ and want to are running that B&M, and will just comment, you know, how they like it, because forums, you know, they get off on rants and other subjects. I can't really find some just focused data on that B&M shifter. All right, you know, and also leave a comment too if I'm talking too fast, or if you want me to put a list down in the title on everything that I have done to the vehicle. But we're gonna get to the back of the vehicle. So here's the back. On my TJ, I am running no rear seats. I do have a Dometic 55. This is their newest style Dometic. It is on the Dometic slide, so this thing does actually slide out. I'm gonna move the tackle box here. So it does slide out and give you plenty of access to your beer or your food. I did get the neoprene cover for it. If you guys are in the market, make sure you get the cover for your fridge. Having your fridge in here looking all nice, your gear goes in here, bounces off of it, ends up scraping it up, but this cover helps insulate and keep your fridge looking nice. All right, locked in. As you can see, there's the truck bed liner in the back. This is my WeBoost back here. Like I said, still got to clean up some of the wires. I am running into some feedback issues with my WeBoost. Getting onto the subject of these WeBoosts, they are an awesome piece of equipment to have on your rig. The big thing you have to pay attention to is the location of your external antenna and then your internal antenna, which mine is right here, right? That's what gives the cell phone service inside the vehicle. So because I'm having it here and it's less than, you know, 3 feet from the main antenna, it gets feedback. So I have to take that antenna off and move it all the way as far front that I can, and that should alleviate that feedback issue. Just haven't gotten around to that. But that's pretty much it for the TJ. Oh, I am running, these are rechargeable lights. I got them from the Overland Rally up in Virginia 2023. They're really neat. They can run on AAA, and the internal rechargeable pack, and I'll show you what they look like. So that's the internal rechargeable piece. You just pull them out, charge them up, throw them on here, and they work really well. And they're just held on with a little bungee, built-in bungee, and they sit on these gas shocks, and it's really nice at nighttime. You open your rear hatch, click them on, and you've got lightweight illumination for the back, you know, pulling out, grabbing food for the campfire, this and the other. I do run a Rubicon drop down table with a mag light and a Zippo bow saw hatchet hammer combination. I did do some modifications to this. So from the factory, when you buy this, it has smaller hardware that's bolted in here, and I upped it to M10 with new nutserts inside the rear tailgate here, or rear hatch. It just makes it a little bit more solid, doesn't rattle as much. The Zippo hatchet, bow saw, hammer, you name it combination. This thing has been great. As you can see, it is cracked here. The cover's cracked. The other side's even worse. It is time for me to get a new one. This mag light is strictly for emergency purposes. It works. It's not the best. There are so many other different options you can have out there for a flashlight, but it's here just in case something happens. You have some type of illumination. But that's pretty much it for the rig. Oh, on the external side, I do have some under the carriage modifications that I have done to the vehicle. Well, let me rephrase that. My father did to the vehicle before I bought it from him. So underneath you can see the diff covers. So those are armored diff covers. I can't remember the manufacturer of them, but they allow for about half to a quart more of fluid capacity. They are armored a little bit so that, you know, bouncing them off of rocks, things like that, really doesn't phase them. The front one does rub on my Curry 1-ton steering upgrade. When I'm at full drop on driver's side, the what is the bar that's hooked to the tie rod ends, right? That rubs on that diff cover. So I may end up going back to factory or just leave it and maybe they'll self-clearance. We're down for self-clearance. That's pretty much it for the Jeep TJ. I do a lot of off-roading with this vehicle. I've taken it to Uwharrie, I've taken it to Florida. You name it, I will take it there. I will give it a shot and we will see what happens. But drop a comment down below if you want some more detail on parts of the build. I appreciate you guys watching. You guys have a wonderful day.